Of course, the reason why everyone is talking about Nebius Group stock is because Nvidia disclosed that it was an investor in the company. And so that created a lot of interest from investors. So for that reason, I've begun digging deeper into Nebius Group stock because I got a lot of requests from my viewers and channel members. And in this video in particular, we're going to talk about the latest developments at the company, why the company kind of undershot its revenue expectations in the latest quarter, what the company is doing to capitalize on this massive AI opportunity, and how it plans to capture this growth market. So let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So starting with that fourth quarter revenue miss I talked about in the introduction, the company's management team said that the reason for a little bit of the underperformance was that they observed the deals with customers, the lead times were taking longer than they observed in previous periods in 2024, as customers became much more selective and wanted to do more in-depth proof of concept testing. So what that means is previously the company was able to sign deals in, let's say, 2 weeks or 4 weeks, but in the fourth quarter, it was taking them longer, maybe 4 weeks to 8 weeks to sign contracts. And the management team elaborated a little bit on why that trended in that direction as the company became larger and started looking for bigger deals. Of course, bigger deals are usually undertaking more scrutiny than smaller deals, and so that can partly explain the longer lead times. Also, the company just started hiring its sales team, like expanding the sales team. Takes time for the sales team to get acclimated, and management team said that it takes at least 6 months for a new salesperson to really become fully productive in their new role. And so that could also explain a little bit of the slower lead time for purchase closings in the latest quarter. They also said that they're launching their new AI cloud platform, and that put a lot of effort and to move their customer base to the new version of the platform. And that took effort and some resources to support this migration. So the focus of the company wasn't exclusively on closing deals. They were also focused on this. And like I mentioned earlier, they haven't really got their full staff onboarded yet. And so they're operating on light staff in a booming business with revenue growth exploding. And so you can understand that they're not fully capable of capitalizing on all the opportunities at their disposal just yet, because they're just, scaling up to meet the opportunity. This is a newer company, right? So they want now to talk about their customer base, what kind of customers they have. The management team said that they currently see that many of their customers are native generative AI startups and tech native companies. So they're not signing up companies like Home Depot and Walmart. They're signing up companies like OpenAI, smaller versions of OpenAI, generative AI startups, tech native companies, digitally native companies. Those are the current customers right now that are signing up to Nebius Group. Now, they do see some short-term on-demand contracts, but the management team saying that they actually benefit from that because we believe that one of the providers and one of the players in the market who can really serve this type of cloud type of workloads, this type of short-term service that a company might need, they feel that they're in a good position to meet that demand. But as they get access to the new Blackwells, remember, this is the latest technology from Nvidia. It's just now reaching data centers and it's just now becoming available. And Nebius Group expects to have these a little bit later in the year. And they anticipate moving to a mix of a more short-term as well as long-term contracts, since at the beginning of generation Blackwells, they expect to sign longer-term contracts. So this is a part of supply and demand here because there is limited access to Blackwells and demand that exceeds the supply. The companies that have these and that have secured access to these, they can flex some negotiating power. And if Nebius Group wants to sell these only to customers that want long-term contracts, they can go ahead and be selective and be choosy and pick only those customers because of the supply and demand dynamic for these Blackwell technologies. And so as Nebius Group gets those online a little bit later in the year, that will help them secure better contract terms because of the marketplace demand for this technology. And of course, Nvidia's relationship with Nebius Group, one of the reasons why I highlighted that everyone is talking about this stock, that relationship also allowed Nebius Group to secure this Blackwell technology when it's sold out, right? When Nvidia can be choosy and select who they want to sell these Blackwell technologies to, because demand exceeds supply. So Nvidia can be choosy, and Nvidia chose Nebius Group. Of course, if you own shares of a company, you're more interested in helping that company become more successful because you own a piece of that company and you will benefit as a result of that company's success. So you can understand why Nvidia would be incentivized to give Nebius Group priority treatment, and as they have and as they should, and Nebius Group will benefit from that later this year. So they're increasingly working with customers looking for clusters in the multiple thousands of GPUs size range. Logically, these are more significant investment decisions, and so they take a little bit longer from a sales cycle perspective. Again, alluding to that revenue miss in the previous quarter, that they talked about how the sales cycle is extending, and kind of alluded to this earlier, that they're now working with customers that are trying to secure bigger deals, bigger investments. And of course, those bigger investments are under more scrutiny, right? For instance, let's say if the company they're working with is looking to sign a $10 million contract, that might not be under as much scrutiny as a company that's looking to sign a $100 million contract, right? The $10 million contract might need to only go through 3 levels of management, for instance, whereas a $100 million contract might need to go all the way to the top, to the CEO, to make that ultimate final decision to sign the contract or not sign the contract. And of course, if it needs to get the attention of the CEO or CFO, it takes longer because the CEO and CFO usually have so many things on their plate that you need to wait for this one item to reach their list of things to do. And then they make a decision or they make a request and they send it all the way back down the pipeline. And then you make some changes and then you send it all the way back up the pipeline for the ultimate decision maker. And so these take longer than those smaller deals that don't have to go through all that bureaucracy that the bigger deals do. So as Nebius Group gets larger and starts looking for bigger contracts, you can expect this trend to continue, the extension of the sales cycle before they sign these deals. Hey everyone, if you like watching my videos, then I've added a great complimentary product just for you. I've written a book that's available for sale now that highlights my 6-step investing framework. Even if you don't follow that investing framework, just reading it and knowing how I evaluate stocks will make it a lot more interesting and informative to watch my videos. I've added the link in the description below.